What is going on, my broskiis? My name is TheLordShiro, back again here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And of course, with these new batches have just come out, and I definitely wanted to give you guys dedicated videos for these units. So in this video, we're going to be talking about Alber. And look, Alber's not going to be the only unit we're going to make a dedicated video for. I want to make a video for all of these brand new legends, utilizing them in their like best case scenario. So today, we're going to be using versus Kaido as our main captain with that friend Alber. So a lot of people already know about this synergy, about Kaido and Alber together. We all can understand how good it is, but the fact that it is as good as what it is, I mean, people need to know about this. The fact that Alber is just the perfect friend for Kaido is awesome. And look, you don't even have to go ahead and use Alber as a friend captain if you don't want to. He's going to be a really good crewmate for Kaido as well. But the real way that you're going to be able to use all of these effects together is to definitely at least have Kaido as the captain and Alber as the sub. But when you do run them both together as a captain, you do get some amazing buffs. With the ability of Kaido resisting 10 turns of special reverse and paralysis, and then Alber resisting 10 turns of bind and despair. Being able to remove 10 turns of those 4 key debuffs whilst also having additional synergistic abilities simultaneously is insane, dude. And it's just really cool that we get a new batch of characters that, you know, is self-sufficient and they all support each other, but then also having these batch units that can help support and buff all the characters that have come into the game. This is exactly the type of batch that I want to see Bandai continuously create moving forward. It is a little bit unfortunate that we do get more slasher support though, because I mean, slashers are one of the best classes in the game. I know that, you know, during the last month or so, we did get a lot of shooter support, which was definitely needed and warranted. But, you know, more stuff like this would be nice too. I mean, like, for example, one that comes to mind would be the Striker Law that came out with versus Blackbeard. Like, I think that we need a real big month dedicated to strikers with this level of power would be a really nice addition for that kind of team. But I digress. Moving on with the Alber stuff. In terms of the content that we're going up against is the Revolutionary Army number 2. And this content does have a lot of paralysis, bind, and despair. And with our 2 captains, we can essentially deal with all of that. Even on this stage here, we're inflicted with bind, despair, and special reverse. Our captains deal with all of these gimmicks, which is great. One thing that I will say about like this combination of Kaido and Alber, which is really wanting you to pivot into the mono-driven team, is that, you know, in a lot of other classes, you have like a dedicated dual unit that can generate buffs every single turn. Like, for example, if you're building a free spirit focused team, you could go ahead and use, you know, like Zoro Sanji, for example, with their switch ability. Or you could go ahead and use something like Shanks' crew if you're using a team that can facilitate them to grant you an attack and an all boost every single turn. Or something like Roger and Whitebeard could also be used. And that can help you in long form content, because with the power level of characters these days with their really high captain abilities, with a switch ability that can just generate an attack and all boost for your crew, that's more than enough damage to get through most of the fights these days. But the driven team doesn't really have a good, you know, a good character that can provide those type of abilities. The best that I came up with, which was Kid and Killer dual unit, they can grant some matching slots and also can grant some resistance down, so long as you're running, you know, predominantly Dex and Int characters. With the resistance down that Kid and Killer provide with their switch ability, it actually worked quite well with this team. Great little synergistic ability here with the treasure map Sakazuki and the support of Kuzan, being able to essentially get around all of these gimmicks on the Morley fight, which is one of the big gatekeepers of this content, because he just has like really annoying defensive effects. He can be quite difficult to go down, especially when Rev Army 2 first dropped. This mini boss was very frustrating to get around, because one small misstep and you just die, right? He just does a ton of damage, so you got to be really careful about that. And then moving on, you know, of course, against Bello Betty, we get inflicted with paralysis. We just don't have to worry about it. Could have organized the team a little bit better in order to get around this attack down. Unfortunately, I completely overlooked the fact that Koala in one of the early stages removed the accumulated values on our specials. So Sasaki unfortunately didn't have the abilities that we had kind of wanted, but wasn't really the end of the world per se. But the fact that, you know, we have paralysis on this stage versus Bello Betty, and then we move on to the next stage, which is the Lindbergh stage, and having paralysis and bind on that stage, again, not having to worry about it because our captain abilities are just so incredibly strong. The way that Alber gets his major buffs is he is a 5.25 times attack boost, but then he also grants 5.75 if you've got a Dex, Recovery, Tandem, or a Wano slot. So he's a little bit specific in terms of how you get his major damage. He also does make Dex, Recovery, and Tandem slots matching for you as a captain, which is nice. But of course, Alber's special ability is incredibly strong, which provides a ton of gimmicks on the enemy side of the field with defense down, weakness. Also applying Ignite is pretty dope, and also applying a ton of resistance down, for one for every type actually, which is a very powerful ability. And the ability of his super type or super class, which works perfectly with Kaido, being able to lock your slots, change slots around that are not tandem, which of course Kaido can generate tandem slots for you, and then you can use Alber to either to just keep those slots, or if they're not tandem, he changes them into Wano. So being able to maintain those tandem slots that Kaido can generate for the crew is quite good. The only real thing about this like synergistic ability between Kaido and Alber that I'm not a big fan of is the fact that Kaido doesn't really have the greatest super tandem in the game. Like, for example, if Kaido's super tandem was like a one-tap super tandem with Alber, it would be pretty crazy. You know, obviously Alber does have a final tap, which is a big thing, and his final tap is very, very good. But I do think that, you know, if we move forward into a Dex-driven, focused super boss team in the future, Alber's final tap with investments is going to be one to look out for. And the good thing is that these characters that have come out in this batch, they are regularly released monthly legends, so they are going to be available in Sugo Fest exclusive tickets once their Sugo Fest has concluded, which is a really good thing to look forward to in the future. But that's going to wrap it up for me for this one. Really big fan of this combo of Alber and Kaido together. Extremely strong, and definitely look forward to using it more in the future. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. Other than that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.
Literally!